Hey guys, I found out very recently that my mother, bless her, has been watching my YouTube videos. So, hello Wezzer, when you see this, old Wez dog. Hey, it was a bit of a shock when I found out, because to be honest with you, I was frantically trying to think. I hope I've never been a potty mouth and been swearing and stuff in my videos. But I don't think I have. I don't think I've got anything to be worried about. So, hello Mum. Right then, today. It's that time of year now. Elderflowers are in bloom, and I like elderflower wine because it's dead easy to make. You just need water, elderflowers, sugar. You can add a bit of lemon if you want, but that's pretty much it. Oh, and a bit of yeast as well. Now, some people make elderflower champagne. I'm not really into that. So what I do is, once it's fermented and brewed and everything, I will put a bit of what we call stopping powder into the mix, and that just stops the fermentation process, which is what gives you the fizz and the bubbles that you get from the fizzy sparkling wine stroke champagne type of elderflower wine. So it's good, yeah. I'm at where my sister lives. All these hedgerows, there's all sorts of stuff going on in these hedgerows. We've got haws, hawthorns, there's nettles, you know, which you can, as a chicken keeper, I drive them out and I feed them to my chickens. They like that. But you can make nettle tea, you can make these wonderful nettle hair lotions that's supposed to stop you going bald. There's foxgloves growing wild. There's all kinds of things. Oh, and while I'm here as well, I'm looking for sheep wool on the floor because there's sheep coming to this bit of land. So, and I've done another video about using sheep wool as a mulch. So, I've got the forager's best friend, a carrier bag. I've already picked a few elder heads. Now, just a note about the elder heads, and I'll get one out. Try not to have too much of the green stalks if you're going to be using it for wine or cordial, because it leaves a bit of a not very nice taste. It's just really the flowers that we want. So I mean, there's about ½ an inch there. I'll before I add that into my bucket, my fermentation bucket, I'll just probably snip this bit of stem off that I'm holding. Yeah, so right, I'm going to pick some more. When I get back to my house, I might try and do some kind of video about using it as to make wine with. So hopefully I'll see you later. Thanks guys. Right, if you see on my hand, those yellow flecks, I don't know how well they're coming out, that's the pollen of the elderflower. And that yellow colour, when it's in the wine, it's absolutely shining golden, and it gives it such a gorgeous colour. It looks like the sunshine coming through the bottle, and it's just beautiful. The whole thing's gorgeous. Right, I've got a bucket. It's been sterilised. Everything that I'm going to be using, every implement, like the knife, the teaspoon, all that, the bucket and the lid, it's all been washed and sterilised, because what you don't want to happen when you're making wine is for wild yeasts to get in there, because basically it'll turn it into vinegar. So what I've got in there is the zest of 2 lemons, okay, and also we're going to put the juice of those 2 lemons in there as well. Let's give them a bit of a squeeze. And my hands have been washed as well. You want to keep things really clean when you're making wine. Right, I'll be honest with you, there are some pips going in here. I don't know if that has any sort of effect. I've made elderflower wine like this before and it's fine, so I don't know. It's up to you, I suppose. If you want to take your pips out, take your pips out. Second lemon. So these lemons were, how much were they? 25p each. So far, other than the bucket, which I've had for that long, I can't remember how much it cost. Today, I've spent up to now 25p. So, I'll keep telling you the prices of stuff as and when I know them. Sorry, 50p because I bought 2. Yeah, maths wasn't my strong point at school. So up to now I've spent 50 pence. So you'll see how much this costs, and then you do the maths. This is a 5 litre bucket, so we'll get just short of 5 litres of wine out of it. And I bet you any money that the amount that I've spent for these little bits and bobs will get a hell of a lot more than, yeah, we'll get a good value for money. Right, so next thing, warm water. Not going to tell you how much, doesn't really matter. Just you want enough to be able to dissolve the sugar. And again, I'm not going to tell you how much sugar to put in, because it's a bit of a personal taste thing. So if you like your wine quite dry, don't put as much sugar in. The sugar feeds the yeast. What they say about yeast is it eats sugar, farts carbon dioxide, and piddles alcohol. So the sugar, it sweetens the wine, but more importantly, it feeds the yeast. I'm going to put just under a baggie. I'm going to leave about 1/5 of the bag. Sugar was 59 pence in my local corner shop. So what's that? 50 plus 59, £1.09 so far. Okay, right, where's my yeast? I'm just going to add a teaspoon of yeast. Now then, some people will say that there's enough yeast on the flowers that you don't need to, but I've done it with and without yeast, and I always get better results, a better fermentation when I just add a teaspoon of wine yeast. That was about £2. I thought, and it was up to there. I've made all sorts from it. So a teaspoon's worth is probably about 10 pence or something. So what have we got? Yeast, sugar, water, lemon juice, lemon zest. Last but certainly not least, the elderflower flower heads. Now again, I'm not going to tell you how many to put in. You'll look at some recipes, they'll say put 10 into a bucket this size. Other recipes will say put 15 into a bucket this size. It's entirely up to you. The more you put in, the more of the wonderful golden yellow pollen you're going to have in, which will colour the water, and also the more you put in, the more of the elderflower flavour you're going to get. Now I've got some left, so if I can get hold of another bucket with a lid, I can make another batch. Now what we need to do is just top it up with bog standard cold water. So just cold water from the tap. Fill it up, needs some more. And when it's full and you put the lid on, if it's in a warm place out of bright sunlight, what will happen is within a couple of days you'll start to see through the side of the bucket, you'll start to see bubbles rising up. That means that the yeast is working, it's active, and it's starting to ferment. So remember, yeast, it'll feed off the sugar, and those bubbles is the carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of the yeast while it's in action, and then as the yeast cells die, they turn into alcohol. So that's what we want. That's fermentation. So I'm going to put the lid on that. Within about a week, I think this will have fully brewed out, as we say, fermented. The full process. The yeast will have been active. It will have made its alcohol, and then the yeast will die. So after about a week or so, I will strain out all the solids that are in this. So the elderflower heads, the bits of lemon zest, the lemon pips. I'll strain all those out, and then the liquid that remains, I'll put into a demijohn, a big glass container, probably with an airlock on, just in case that if there is any active yeast still left, the airlock will stop it exploding because the bubbles can escape through the water in the airlock. And then that will stay in there. I leave it in for at least 6 weeks. And that's what we call sedimentation. All little bits of sediment, so all the bits of pollen, any dead yeast cells, they'll sink to the bottom of the demijohn. And it's a see-through glass container, so you can actually see it once it's happened. Then what we do is a process called racking off, where using a siphon, I'll start sucking out the wine from my full demijohn, where all the sediment is in the bottom, and I'll siphon it into a clean, sterilised, empty demijohn, stopping just before it starts to suck up the gunk, which will be at the bottom. So that's called racking off, and some people rack off 2-3 times. I will do it as many times as I need to for the wine to become absolutely crystal clear, because elderflower wine goes a gorgeous golden colour, and when it's clear as well, I don't do cloudy wine. When it's clear, it's beautiful. It's a work of art, and it not only does it taste good, it looks good. Now, I've been saying the word wine. Some people make elderflower champagne in the exact same way, apart from one small difference. This is going to become wine because I will add a thing called stabiliser to it. After about a week of it being in here, I will add the stabiliser, which basically stops the fermentation process. Now, if you want champagne, I know we're not allowed to call it champagne, European laws and all that. Champagne's a region of France, and this isn't made in France, it's made in Lancashire. We'll call it fizzy elderflower wine. If you want to make fizzy elderflower wine, you don't stop the yeast, you don't stop that fermentation process by adding a stabiliser. But just a note of caution, if you're making the fizzy type of elderflower wine, you need to have really strong containers because they can explode, because it's still producing that gas. The yeast is, if it's still alive, it's still going to be producing those CO2 fart bubbles that it does. So you just need to bear that in mind. But I like the still flat wine. Excellent. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more free gardening related videos.